Blues Clubs of Beale Street. They're close to ringing in the new year in Memphis. And who will get to ring the Liberty Bowl bell later today as Georgia and TCU square off in the 58th annual AutoZone Liberty Bowl, part of Capital One Bowl Mania. This afternoon in Memphis, it's the Horned Frogs at 6-6, trying for a 10th bowl win for Coach Gary Patterson. And the Dogs at 7-5 who are looking to close out Kirby Smart's inaugural season with a win. A sunny but chilly day in Memphis as we welcome you to the Liberty Bowl. Beth Mowins along with Anthony Becht. Rocky Boyman is down on the field. And Anthony, we got the SEC and the Big 12 today. We've got a Georgia team that wants to grind it out on the ground against the up-tempo attack for the Frogs.
It's been a roller coaster year for both teams and their offenses. TCU trying to replace 6 players going the NFL, quarterback, running back, 2 receivers, a tackle. And then you look on the other side for Georgia, first-time head coach here with Kirby Smart, a rookie quarterback, true freshman, and Jacob Eason, just trying to understand the system and how they're doing it. The playbooks haven't quite fully been open yet for both of these teams.
One thing we do know is that Georgia has a couple of game changers in the backfield, and it starts with Nick Chubb.
Power, speed, downhill running ability. That's everything that enamours Nick Chubb. This guy is a powerful runner looking to run over bodies in between the tackles. And then as a changeup, Sony Michel, explosiveness, likes to get on the edge, can catch the ball out of the backfield. A perfect third down back for this football team and complement both of these backs fantastic.
Rocky Boyman is down on the field right now with head coach Kirby Smart of Georgia.
Coach, Bulldog fans would love to see you get that powerful rushing attack going today. How do you do that?
Well, we do it behind our 2 big backs and going right at them. We got to do a good job up front, just play action pass, keep them off balance, but we got to move some people on the offensive line.
Your first bowl game as a head coach, what do you got to see out of your team today to be victorious?
We've just talked to them about not looking at the scoreboard, playing with great effort, great toughness, flying to the ball, a lot of passion and energy, and affecting each other that way.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, Ron.
Guys, this is a very undersized TCU defensive front that'll be even more short-handed today. One of their lone 300-pounders, the tackle Joseph Broadnax, is out today. Also, the linebacker Traven Howard, the 7th leading tackler in the country. He will play safety to try to keep him clean to be able to attack on that rush game. But guys, as you know, Gary Patterson, he has a long history of being able to stop that run using lots of slants and movement.
That's especially good in bowl games, Rocky. He's looking to join just a handful of active coaches with double-digit bowl victories here today. Let's take a look at the keys to the game, brought to you by the Franklin American Mortgage Company.
Well, Rocky talked about the TCU defensive linemen moving around. The offensive linemen for Georgia have to stay on tracks with speed and power, make sure they're blocking up their guys. Even if they're moving for TCU's offense, they go fast, but they really want to increase the tempo today against a Georgia defense that doesn't commonly see this type of offense in the SEC.
TCU won the toss and deferred. Georgia set to receive in the red jerseys and the silver breeches. And in all white, even though they're the home team, TCU, they were better on the road, so the superstitious Gary Patterson chose the road whites. Underway at the AutoZone Liberty Bowl, and it's Reggie Davis from his own 10-yard line. And he'll bring it out across the 25. And we will watch Nick Chubb trot onto the field, returning from that knee injury a year ago. He's close to a 1,000-yard season and just 4 yards shy from passing Todd Gurley to number 2 all-time in rushing.
I got to think you want to try to knock this out early, Beth. I mean, at any point he can break a big run, but he has been the bell cow, still trying to overcome that tragic knee injury 2 years ago. But I'll tell you what, he is primed and ready for this season to finish strong.
Post out deep in the eye is Nick Chubb. Christian Payne, the fullback in front of him. Chubb needs just 2 yards to pass Todd Gurley. And then the only guy in front of him in Georgia history would be the great Herschel Walker. Chris Bradley on the tackle. Rocky?
Anthony, you were talking about the bunch formation. It's kind of the anti-spread. If you're a bigger team, you want to get those littler guys in a phone booth, right, where you can punch them, and therefore inside their speed is not their advantage anymore.
Yeah, you know, it's a smaller, lighter defense for TCU. They feel like they have an advantage up front with their offensive linemen. But again, this offensive lineman, much maligned this season, have to set the tone up front to have success.
They did credit Nick Chubb with 2 yards on that last carry. He's going to get it again. And He is now second all-time in rushing at the University of Georgia. Well, the quarterback for the Dogs for the 12th game in a row is Jacob Eason, the true freshman and Prep National Player of the Year out of Lake Stevens, Washington.
Tremendous arm talent. I mean, this kid can throw the ball all over the yard, but he has to be better diagnosing pre-snap and post-snap. In between, that time, that space has to be better when this defense moves.
There are the trips now to the left side. Michelle is the offset back. Eason on 3rd and 8, stepping up, looking for a lane. Now we'll chuck it downfield, and it's caught by Isaiah McKenzie. Across midfield, McKenzie a block. Inside the 20, still on his feet, and down he goes at the 7-yard line as Sony Michel cleared a path for him.
The #1 playmaker on the outside for this team is McKenzie. Eason does a great job of buying time in the pocket and not giving up. McKenzie finds a space, DB falls down, and now it's an element of speed, acceleration, and that's what he does. 77 yards, Beth. That's the way you start and set the tempo in this offense.
Their leading receiver, their big play threat, and he's coming through right there. It's 1st and goal. Michel, the single setback as they bunch some guys to the left. Sony burrows his way inside the 5 and down to about the 3.
Sony Michel is basically the same size as Nick Chubb. They're both 5'11", 225. But again, he can bring that downhill element, Beth, and he can also get on the edge. He's more of a spread runner, loves to go into space. But again, he's got that explosion and quickness at the line of scrimmage to get the job done.
Blazevich and Nauta, a couple of tight ends in there. They both go to the right side. Second and goal. The give is to Michel. To the one, and he punches across the goal line and in. Touchdown, Georgia.
Power king on the outside. You got 2 tight ends on the edge. I love the fact that they use those tight ends because it gives them flexibility, Beth, in passing and running. You don't know what's coming. And both of these young men, in Isaac Nate, 18 and 83 Blazevich, they can both block the edge well. Proved it on that touchdown run.
Rodrigo Blankenship. The PAT is good. Michel gets the 4-yard touchdown. It was Isaiah McKenzie with the big play.
I'll tell you what, this quarterback has grown throughout the year, gets the ball to his playmakers. McKenzie knows what to do, and I love power football, Beth. I get excited. Michel put his head down, get the touchdown.
The Commodores will be the featured performer coming up at halftime today. You'll get a little taste of that. A 5-play, 86-yard scoring drive for Georgia that featured Jacob Eason's career-long pass and Isaiah McKenzie's career-long catch, a 77-yarder. And TCU will have it at its own 35-yard line under the guidance of Kenny Hill, the junior out of Southlake, Texas. It's been an up-and-down season. 15 touchdowns, throwing it, 9 rushing.
Yeah, he's a 3,000-yard passer, but he's run for 500 yards. He's a dangerous dual-threat runner, and he's got to protect the football. You talked about it. Interceptions have been an issue. Turnovers for this offense. They cannot shoot themselves in the foot against a defense like Georgia.
Just 5 picks through the first 5 games, but 8 INTs in the second half of the season, and a Georgia defense that has 15 interceptions on the year. Out close to the first down marker again. It's Hicks with another touch in a game of 7.
TCU really bringing the tempo. One thing Georgia has to do, they're all looking to the sideline to get the call. They need to get that call fast and get lined up. Too many times here early, I'm seeing guys moving around. You got to be set in order to play ball the way you want to.
And Rocky now showing the 3-man front. Hicks will take it. How about the impact players today?
Kyle Hicks can run the ball and catch the ball. He's a 3-down back. And you got Roquan Smith. He's arguably the best young talent on this defense for Georgia. He'll be spying Kenny Hill today, and he'll be going sideline to sideline when they have a spread out look on offense.
Hill will put it into the belly of Hicks again, and a burst into the secondary, and Hicks all the way down to the 41-yard line, and a scamper of 20 yards.
Well, you watch Hicks on the back end of that run, Beth, and he's starting to fall forward. I think he's getting a little tired. You know, I know they love to get this guy the ball, but he's going to probably take a blow on that next play. They got him out for a quick set. Actually, no, he just stood there for this play.
They have really cranked up the tempo, and the completion to the outside, and a 9-yard gain. That's Jarrison Stewart.
Now they give him a break. They pull him out, and they bring Johnson in. So that's a great bunch of plays right there for that young man.
Travaris Johnson and Darius Anderson, an exciting true freshman who ran for over 100 yards against Texas. Into the slot, this is Anderson. That included a 70-yard touchdown run.
It's a nice tackle by Roquan Smith. Again, they practice this all during bowl preparation week, tackling in space. You see a lot of separation with these receivers. Linebackers, DBs have to be good tacklers on the...
Horned Frogs will stay with Anderson in the backfield. They'll motion Turpin. And this is Darius, who gets down inside the 25. Jack Folliard, who is a 33-year veteran and a Pac-12 supervisor, is our official up in the booth. And kind of walk us through quickly, Jack, the substitution rule there.
Oh, yeah, sure, Beth. The offense substituted, so we've got to hold the snap and given the opportunity for the defense, in this case, Georgia, to substitute. Everything looked fine on that last play.
Also on the resume for Jack, work in the 06 National Championship when the Florida Gators beat Ohio State on the 2nd and 5 carry. Davin Bellamy and Julian Rochester were in on the stop of Kenny Hill. And now we've got a 3rd and 4 coming up for TCU.
Yeah, they're going to have a couple defenders spying the quarterback today. We talked about Roquan Smith, number 3, but number 7, Lorenzo Carter, was in on that tackle, who's on the edge right now. Will be that other guy.
4 wide to the right to stretch the field, and Hill finds an opening and has the first down to the 15-yard line, and a gain of 8. Rocky?
Guys, I'm loving what they're doing right now with this spread attack. As Coach Kirby Smart told us yesterday, he'll play against the air raid all day, but it's tougher against a running quarterback like Hill. That's the added wrinkle that Doug Meacham has brought the offense here, that running quarterback.
And he's trying to bring in fresh bodies when TCU doesn't substitute. That's been difficult right now. 11th play of the drive here so far, and you can see some of these defenders getting tired, especially up front for Georgia.
Drive that started back on their own 12-yard line. As we approach the 2-minute mark in the quarter, Hill keeping it all the way. Cut down by Maurice Smith. Well, for Georgia, this is where they really have to tighten it up with the red zone defense that is 2nd worst in FBS.
It's amazing, you know, you get teams down in this area, you want to hold them to field goals, but that touchdown percentage is ultra high for a Kirby Smart style defense. Again, he told us the full gamut of plays are not completely in yet, but these guys got to really hone in. Should be an advantage, Beth, when you have a tighter area to defend.
Just a couple of down linemen here for Georgia. They're bringing the pressure from the secondary. Hill able to elude it and diving down to the 13-yard line. Dominic Sanders, the junior out of Tucker, Georgia, should have had him in the backfield.
Yeah, Sanders has a ton of experience, 37 career starts, and he's really going to bring that power off the edge as far as bringing a little pressure. Jumped up in the air, thought it was going to pass. Kenny Hill does a nice job. Get him now to 3rd and long in the red zone, Beth. This is where they got to come up big after giving up a lot of points over the season.
They need to get the 5-yard line. Hill, under duress, chucks it into the turf. Trenton Thompson, the sophomore out of Albany, Georgia, was itching to take him down.
Trenton Thompson is a beast. I mean, he's a player that can make a difference at the defensive line position. He is a true sophomore, and they say he's playing a lot better with his technique. And you see the big man, he's chasing down Kenny Hill. Looks a little tired there.
And Brandon Hatfield will come on to attempt the field goal. It would be a 40-yarder, which would match his season long. Out of the hold of the punter, Adam Nunez. Kick is on its way, and it is good. So the Georgia defense holds in the red zone. A costly penalty there for TCU. And it's 7-3. And east over to Nashville from here in Memphis. Reggie Davis from his own 11. Stuffed right at the 23-yard line. Outstanding coverage. Michael Downing. You know, they're fired up for another SEC versus Big 12 matchup. Kansas State won the first one of the bowl season with a win over Texas A&M. We still have Auburn, Oklahoma to come, and there's a big hit on Eason in the backfield. The ball squirted out. Tipa Galley was the guy that made a big play, and the Horned Frogs say they've got the turnover, and they do. The sophomore out of Euless, Texas with the recovery.
Yeah, Galley's on the outside, and he's going against Catalina on the left tackle position. Again, just stays with it. Catalina's got to move his feet and stay with the defender. He's able to get that strip, knock down the quarterback. Huge play right here. Jacob Eason had no idea he was coming off his backside.
And Tyler Catalina, he struggled all year. He's the grad transfer from Rhode Island. There was word that they might move the guard Dyshawn Sims over to tackle and put Isaiah Wynn over there and move Dyshawn Sims up. You wonder if they may see that here later with that big sack.
Working out of the gun, Kenny Hill with Kyle Hicks offset. And it will be Hicks. Called down one-handed at the 20, and was it a face mask on Trenton Thompson?
Personal foul, face mask, defense, half the distance to the goal, automatic first down.
Then you see Trenton Thompson coming across, reaches his arm out late, actually gets the back of the helmet. Doesn't look like he got the face mask. Is it the same thing, though, Jack, when you're talking about grabbing a face mask and helmet?
Opening, including the face mask, any helmet opening will be considered a foul.
There we go.
20 seconds to go in the first quarter. Georgia hustling some substitutions on defensively. Cole Hunt, the tight end, goes in motion. Hill calls his own number, gets a block from Hicks on the edge and barrels in for 6. Hicks can run it, Hicks can catch it, and a big block on DeAndre Baker to get his quarterback into the end zone.
Dual threat. He's dangerous, and they have run him quite a bit. Nice block by the tight end on the edge, 84, and you got Hicks. Again, so versatile as a running back. We've seen him catch the ball. We've seen him run the ball downhill, and then he goes out and blocks. Talk about valuable player on the football field. Number 21's getting it done today.
Extra point from Brandon Hatfield. Dings off of the upright and out. No good. Points off the turnover for TCU, but only 6. Now we welcome you back to Memphis and the AutoZone Liberty Bowl. And a 9-7 lead for TCU as they score off of the fumble recovery.
Again, sells it right with his eyes. They get the tailback to wrap around and block at the tight end. Also, they got their tackle pulling around. But again, points are a premium, Beth, especially in a bowl game. And when you miss an extra point, that just opens the door maybe down the road. That could be a big point missed.
That was after just 27 seconds earlier, he had matched his season long with a 40-yard field goal. That touchdown drive, just a couple of plays. Davis will get it back out to the 20-yard line. That'll take care of business in the first quarter at a 9-7 lead for TCU.
Both quarterbacks making plays. Eason with his arm, running the ball in, getting close to the goal line. Then you get the big turnover, and now it's Kenny Hill's turn to get it in the end zone.
A spectacular sunny day here in Memphis. A bit on the cool side, 50 degrees this afternoon. And through one, it's 9-7 TCU with the lead over Georgia. All Georgia's offense coming on the 77-yard pass play, Anthony. They've only run it for 17 yards. Can they establish that ground game? Sony Michel is the tailback. He'll get the call. Nothing doing. Horned Frogs were all over it. Matt Boson with the stop. Rocky?
Guys, I know the run game is not working for Georgia right now, but I think they got to stay with it. In order to be good at something, in order to have an identity, you got to stay with it, especially a run game versus an undersized front. Keep pounding away until it starts to work. I think Cheney's going to stay with it.
And they're speeding their tempo up a little bit too, so a little bit of a change up for them to try to get some pressure on this defense.
They do keep Tyler Catalina, by the way, at left tackle, and look at the push again by TCU. Aaron Curry was there, along with Sammy Douglas again. We've been calling his name a lot early on.
And again, Beth, early down runs so far for Georgia. A lot of bodies penetrating to the line of scrimmage. At some point, if you do want to get a change up, Jim Chaney can try with some play action passes on early downs. But right now, they got to get effective so they're not in these 3rd and long situations somewhere you don't want the young quarterback to be in.
Now you're putting it on the true freshman, Jacob Eason, to make good decisions. Kirby Smart said that would be pivotal today. He'll take the deep drop. Slings it downfield, incomplete. He was looking for Terry Godwin, and it's a 3rd 3 and out already in this first half.
Nice clean pocket on that play. He's got time, but you see the inaccuracy. Godwin comes open, Beth, and again, a nice thrown ball, accurate ball. You get an easy first down conversion, but just not all on the same page.
Bryce Ramsey to punt it away. Cavante Turpin. Low snap to Ramsey out of his own end zone. Turpin with the fair catch at the 45. That will set up TCU in Georgia territory. Play action, Hill down the middle, and a first down catch inside the 30-yard line.
You got to imagine, guys, Dalvin Cook is going to want to show out in his hometown of Miami, but it's the defense. They lead the country in sacks, 47 of them. That's really made Florida State such a powerful force here late.
They're going to throw it back to Hill, who's almost intercepted. John Diarse threw it back. Marshall got a hand on it. Georgia saying it was a backward pass.
Were they both backward passes? The first one was definitely a backward pass. Was the one coming back just to keep an eyeball on it to make sure. First play, obviously, now let's watch the track of this ball. It looks like it is forward. But again, that's a heck of a job. We just talked about number 51, Marshall, and 52, Clark. Well, he comes back and they make a play. Good job by the true freshman to stay home.
49 to go in the first half. 2nd and 10 for TCU. Working on a short field. They'll run the draw to Hicks. Bounces to the outside, switches hands, and runs out of bounds close to the 20. Rocky?
We just got a flag down here on the sideline, but Georgia right now going to an interesting new look. They're going to a 0 nose and then 2 4 eyes. That allows the linebacker, Raquan Smith, to be able to run sideline to sideline, but they still got to find a way to keep Hicks in the net like that.
Are they calling that the foul?
Wow, is that going to be a late hit on Lorenzo Carter?
Late hit out of bounds. Number 7 on the defense. Half the distance half the distance. First down.
With Hicks and Johnson in the backfield on 1st and goal and a 9-7 lead. Georgia with a 5-man rush. The back shoulder throw incomplete in the end zone, looking for Isaiah Graham. DeAndre Baker had the coverage. Sophomore out of Miami.
Isaiah Graham getting some early work offensively, true freshman. Baker, their best cover guy at corner for Georgia. He's played well this season.
Second and goal. Hill, the catch made. Touchdown, TCU. John Diarse from 10 yards out.
Quite sure how he caught that ball, Beth. Unbelievable. Getting his paws on this one. He's going to run the slant route. Watch him on the outside. Defender out. The defender starts to fall down as he tries to go through him. That's Parrish, number 14. Falls down as he extends, but I'll tell you what, plucking the ball out of the air in front of his body, it's a heck of a job right there by Diarse.
2 scoring drives of under a minute for TCU. Kenny Hill now with a touchdown run and a touchdown pass. And a 16-7 lead.
I think, you know, big picture right now, Georgia's got to find a way to block this moving defense of TCU. Just been a struggle throughout.
One big play, that was a 77-yard pass play. But other than that, they have been shut down. In fact, Nick Chubb just 6 yards on 5 carries so far in the first half. Godwin and Nick Chubb also lining up in the slot to the right. The receiver screen for Godwin. Picks up a couple to get outside the 20 to the 22. Rocky?
On that play, we saw just a shotgun spread formation. That's actually the placement that Jacob Eason is most comfortable in. That's the style of offense he played in high school. I know Jim Chaney wants him to be under center and run play action like that, but as of right now, the true freshman much more comfortable taking the ball in the gun, surveying the field, and delivering the ball to the playmakers.
Empty set now for Eason. Pass out to the flat. McKenzie, good yards after the catch, and he picks up the first down out to the 35-yard line.
It's the one thing you see about McKenzie week in and week out is when he runs a route, and regardless of where he catches the ball, he can make people miss. Now, he's going against a guy right there that had 125 tackles coming into this game, and he's able to shake those guys away and move the chains. Again, Beth, he talked about it, Rocky did, about getting the ball to spreading it out. Jacob Eason has to survey the land and read it early so he can get the ball out of his hands effectively and quickly to the open receiver.
That is just the second first down of the day for Georgia. Room for Sony Michel, and there's the power to pick up the first down across the 45 and out to the 48-yard line. He ran right through Nico Small and a gain of 12.
Well, you know, it's a nice job, and Sony Michel gives you that quick, elusive explosion through the line of scrimmage. And listen, that's about the first time I've seen a hole for these guys to get through, so they can utilize that.
The rushing so far for those two guys, the yardage has been hard to come by. Both ranked in the top 10 all time in Georgia rushing. Nick Chubb moving up to number 2, passing Todd Gurley today. They'll get the call. The flea flicker back to Eason. Looking deep downfield for Godwin, and a flag down, an official down, a receiver down, and a DB down.
Yeah, everybody falls down, Beth. Great play call, flea flicker, trick plays. That caught the DB in a vulnerable spot. He has to grab the wide receiver as he's bursting away, because if he didn't, it might have been a home run. Watch here, you got the flea flicker, number 24.
Holding, defense, number 24. 10-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Yeah, Lewis, number 24, right prior to this, grabs the wide receiver. Very clearly, as I saw it happening prior, it was actually out of his break when he was juking the DB. And again, might have been a touchdown saving penalty though at that token, Beth.
Heck of a job by the back judge, David Ross, going down, still able to get the flag out and make the call.
Work some of them backpedal drills though in the offseason.
Bun might hurt a little bit, pride might hurt a little bit, but he got the job done. All kinds of crisscrossing in the backfield. It's Eason that will keep it and throw it into double coverage. Incomplete, looking for Christian Payne. And it's third down.
Yeah, now Christian Payne wouldn't be a normal guy that would get this ball. He comes from the fullback position. They try to get a wheel to him. He was open initially, but here's the problem, Beth. After 10 yards, about 3 guys start conversion because of the speed factor. And again, it's just anticipation sometimes, getting the ball out of Jacob Eason's hands and seeing that early.
Adjustments in the secondary for TCU prior to the snap. This is Chubb. Couple of stiff arms. Gets to the edge and out of bounds after a 6-yard pickup. And it'll be 3rd and 4.
And they're getting close, Beth, again, trying to get that spark in the run game. They've actually spread it out a little bit, tried to mix some of that in to get some of them defenders out of the box. And right now they got to find a way to convert this 3rd and short and keep the chains moving and put a drive together and finish.
With that run, Chubb now over 1,000 yards for the 2nd time in his career. But first, a 3rd and 13 with 1:25 to go in the half.
They push themselves out of field goal range, and now they have to try to convert off a penalty. Pressure down for the quarterback.
4 Horned Frogs coming. The pass is away to Michelle. Breaks a tackle. Breaks another one inside the 20, the 10, the 5. Lunging for the end zone, and he's in. Touchdown, Georgia. And he made more than one miss.
Same play as before. Great job coming out of the backfield. The question is, did he hit the ground before he got into the end zone? Again, it's going to be tough to see it on that angle right there. It looks like he's on top of a body. Nothing's touching the ground. Again, that angle won't justify.
I think he's in. Rodrigo Blankenship. Extra point is good to make it a 2-point game. And remember, TCU has a missed field goal and a missed PAT. Here's another look at the score.
Yeah, and here's the matchup right here versus a linebacker. Now, we talked earlier about how some of these linebackers for TCU are smaller guys. Summers happens to be one of the true linebackers on the team, so his speed is not going to be as good as, say, 32 Howard. But again, just trying to get out in space and make the big plays is going to be an interesting moving forward with this team.
Michelle now with both scores for Georgia with 1:13 to go in the half. This will be Cavante Turpin with a lane. And Turpin with a burst. All the way out across midfield. And they'll have a chance for more points before the break with a 1:03 to go.
Turpin is a beast. 2015 freshman All-American because of this. A kick returner, dangerous, excellent in space, makes people miss, and he's got a great knack of feeling defenders when they're around him and not really seeing them. I mean, he's just one of those guys that can make big plays. They haven't used him much on offense, Beth, but I'll tell you what, he's a game changer, and they needed something like that to happen for them.
How about a 50-yard return? And now with 2 timeouts, they will start from the Georgia side of the field. Hill all day to throw it underneath to Kyle Hicks down to the 43. Tackled by Roquan Smith.
Got 2 timeouts here, Beth, 50 seconds.
Pressure coming, Hill able to break the tackle of Thompson. He's going to get caught from behind and the ball is out. Georgia's got it. Stripped by Lorenzo Carter, then recovered by Aaron Davis.
I'll tell you what, Trent Thompson is taking this game over, Beth, at the line of scrimmage. And they talked about he's been a little up and down, but he's been working technique, and he's become a consistent player. Well, guess what? Today, he's been a beast. He's at the line of scrimmage, and he's been unblockable right now. You see brute force and power getting through the 2 guys. That starts everything, and now speed. Who's your fast stand-up backer? That's Lorenzo Carter. He's able to swipe the outside arm with the ball in his hands. That's just enough to cause the fumble. A huge play this defense needed.
And Anthony, before the game, I was marveling at the arm length of Lorenzo Carter. Big body guy, 6'6", but them arms are really, really long. Just enough to be able to pop that ball out.
So Eason downfield. The catch is made at the 40-yard line for a first down.
Need to get up and spike it. Need to get up to the line of scrimmage quickly. Get everybody set. Just stand where you are in place and spike it.
They're going to throw it instead. And the catch is made to get out of bounds by Isaac Nauta. 6 seconds to go.
Again, you know, great play. They get it out there. They're still not close enough to kick it, in my opinion. If you spike it at 11 seconds, you might get yourself a better play. But they're going to, looks like they're going to try.
Yeah, they're going to bring on Blankenship. Keep in mind, Eason is the holder. But as long as a 49-yarder in that big win against Kentucky when he also nailed the game winner as time expired, this will be a 53-yard attempt. And it is no good and not even close.
Yeah. You know, again, Beth, you know, in that vital situation where you get that first down, the clock is temporarily stopped. Honestly, get up to the line of scrimmage. You got 11 seconds and just spike it. Let's survey the play field here and see what we can do. I know they got the quick pass, but obviously it wasn't close enough. I don't know if I like that route that they went there at the end of the game.
So at the half here in Memphis, TCU with a 16-14 lead over Georgia as they try and get Gary Patterson his 10th bowl victory. Or will it be Georgia getting the first for Kirby Smart as the former Georgia defensive back returns to Athens? Let's go down to the field now with Rocky and Coach Patterson.
Coach, it looked like about 5 minutes ago, Georgia went for more of a traditional offense and spread you out and had some success. How do you counteract that in the second half?
Yeah, it's all right. You just got to make plays. We've given up 2 big plays on 3rd and long. And we had coverage where we're supposed to have it. We knew when they were in a slot that he blocked and he would go out. Their running backs are one of their best players. We only worked on it for 3 weeks. So the bottom line is to it, it's our fault.
Coach, Kenny Hill's having a lot of success running the football. What else do you have to do in the second half to keep getting them points up?
Yeah, we got it. You're going to have to score points. Georgia's going to come back. They've got a good football team. We got to tackle. We're going to have to play the ball in there. He's thrown some balls and we've had a chance to pick. We got to get another takeaway.
Thanks, Coach.
You bet.
We'll get you to Atlanta for the Buick halftime report with Stan Verrett, Mark May, and Mac Brown right after this short break. Welcome back to the 58th annual AutoZone Liberty Bowl, part of Capital One Bowl Mania. And a halftime lead of 16-14 for TCU. Kenny Hill with a rushing and a tossing touchdown and a couple of scores for Sony Michel for Georgia. As we welcome you back to Memphis, Beth Mowens along with Anthony Becht and Rocky Boyman. Well, we talked about the importance of Georgia being able to establish the run, held to just 49 yards rushing in that first half.
Yeah, it's been tough. You know, TCU's done a nice job at the line of scrimmage, moving around and doing different things to confuse Georgia. I think both of these teams, you know, need to take a step back, calm down, and just stay disciplined within this. It's very evenly field game for both teams. You got rush and pass, vice versa, kind of in the same area, Beth, but again, very close. Turnovers could end up being the difference.
Right now, Kenny Hill out rushing Chubb and Michel for Georgia. TCU to receive to start out this third quarter, and it's Kavontae Turpin. Just a moment ago, Rocky caught up with Kirby Smart.
Coach, it looked like Jacob Eason got into a bit of a groove there toward the end of the first half. What was the difference?
Well, I think he felt a little more comfortable. He hit Sony. Guy made some plays for him. He's got to hit the open guys. He's got a couple options. He's just overthrown them when they were there. So,
looked like Kenny Hill, their quarterback, having some success running the ball. How do you stop that?
Well, we got to do a good job containing him. We're not finishing on the quarterback real well. He's gotten loose a couple times, run for extra yards. We got to wrap him up and finish him.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, Rock.
You know, Eason today is 9 for 16, 155, and he's right. He's missed some open receivers. And Beth, it comes down to timing and anticipation. Coach has been talking about that really all season. He's got to grow and continue to read and see coverages so he can find those guys open in the field and give accurate passes.
Hill cut down by Roquan Smith. As we start out this second half, both these teams have had their share of close calls and fourth quarter finishes, even a couple in overtime, a couple of losses for TCU. So we are anticipating some late game fireworks with Georgia and Texas Christian.
Again, another substitution issue for Georgia here, running a guy off late. Again, you got to find ways to handle this coming out, especially coming out of halftime.
Yeah, Devin Bellamy right there caught in between. This is the problem with doing so many personnel groups. And Bellamy's playing defensive end sometimes he's a stand-up linebacker. So, again, you got to find a way to be settled down, get the play call and play it instead of worrying about running personnel on off the field so much.
And, guys, remember, it cost Georgia a couple of defensive timeouts that they really could have used at the end of that first half when they were trying to drive late to get some points up.
Beth, it's the second play of the second half. I mean, let's get a situational team in there to at least start the series off. Can't have that happen and give up 3 yards.
2nd and 1 here. Kyle Hicks gonna get the call. Hicks good, patient running, waited for the opening, found it, ball squirts loose at the tail end of the play, and Georgia's got it. The second strip by Lorenzo Carter today, and it's Dominic Sanders picking it up. And the official's certainly going to look and see if the runner was down.
The rolling on the field for a fumble recovered by the defense.
Nope.
It's
first down, Georgia.
It's definitely out, but TCU's got plenty of time to get on this ball. They got offensive linemen running with the tailbacks, which is great. They're in position. You see right there, Niang's, they had another lineman try to flop on it. He actually had it. It came out. You get to see it there on the back end, but again, that was a huge turnover. Again, Lorenzo Carter's making a play and making a strip.
That's 2 forced fumbles in the last 2 possessions for Carter. So with the carry down inside the 35 and a 5-yard gain wrapped up by Sammy Douglas.
5 yards on first down, Beth, always helps. Number one, a coordinator finding a good play in second down with options, and then obviously if you don't convert here, you're in a shorter situation for your quarterback to be quicker in the pass game. Again, Jacob Eason been effective finding the short passes. Got to find a way to link up with some of these receivers on the outside to make some big plays.
Michelle finds a seam off the right side and another first down, and Georgia already running it better here in the third than they did in the first half.
Yeah, they got Cablana pulling around. They kicked out the defensive end and the defensive tackle, and there's a nice seam again. Some nice holes, and now you see a little bit. The numbers aren't where they wanted to be, but starting to come up a little bit. Chubb obviously hasn't been affected, but Sony looks like right now he's the running back that's starting to make some yards for Georgia.
Michelle has a receiving touchdown and a rushing touchdown today. I'll run it that way again, and a gain of 3. Off that right side, Nick Orr had the stop as Michelle followed Lamont Gilliard and Greg Pike off that right side.
Obviously, the offensive line are getting talked to. I see more surge at the line of scrimmage right now. Offensive linemen are pushing forward, and they're starting to prevent some of these gap-running defensive linemen and linebackers early on in this third quarter.
Blazevich and Harris, 2 tight ends, go to the short side of the field. Pressure coming right up the middle. Eason. Down he goes at the 21. Traven Howard was in pursuit, and it's going to bring up 3rd down.
There's Isaiah McKenzie, their big-time playmaker in the first half. Didn't see him the first couple plays to start this half, but find a way to get him the ball in space, Beth. We saw him catch a short ball, take it long. He's a guy that could be a difference maker if he can get the ball in his hands.
He'll be slotted left. Howard is the defender on McKenzie. Eason looking that way, throwing that way. Out of bounds, and it's 4th down.
Beth, again, anticipation and timing. McKenzie is open here. He's got him. He is waiting. Jacob Eason is waiting for him to get open and then throwing it late. If he just anticipates that and throws the ball sooner, he's going to have a catch here. But being he waits so long, the ball literally gets thrown out of bounds, and he's got no space. A little sooner for this young quarterback. It's coming. He's a young guy, but he's got to anticipate the coverage and see these guys before they've come out of their breaks.
38-yard attempt for Blankenship. And they're going to fake it. Ramsey will carry and get the first down to the 10.
Well, I'll tell you, this is pretty good design. And watch number 5, Julian Rochester. He's going to be on the edge, pulling around and lead block. And number 5 right there. I'll tell you, that's a long way to go for a punter, a holder to take that. I think he was a little shocked on how big that hole was, but you got that width on the outside because the kicker went wide and he just went right up the middle. It's a nice play call for Kirby Smart.
That is usually Eason, the holder, but it was Bryce Ramsey, the third-string quarterback, that was the holder there that ran for it. And on the first down run to the 9-yard line, 2nd and goal.
When you get deep down in the red zone, I always like to utilize the different tight ends that they have. They have multiple ones right now in the game. Sometimes those are mismatch problems, I would say all the time, but for coaches to call plays for them, those matchups between strong safeties and tight ends can be an advantage.
11th play of this drive. Eason underneath to Nauta at the 5-yard line. And a 4-yard pickup.
Anthony, I'm down here on the field, and the Georgia fans have reiterated exactly what you're saying. They're saying, Eason, throw the ball. He's open. You're right. He's got to see that guy open and pull the trigger. Instead, he's hesitating, and it's given time for the defender to make up that space.
It's all about pre-snap read, Rocky. And again, he's got some guys open. You know, they had a crossing route there, but Sony Michel came open. Hopefully they can punch it in or get themselves a chance here on 3rd down under center.
Out of the eye with Payne and Michel. Eason with the fake pitch, lobs it over the top to Javon Wims. And a 4-yard touchdown for Georgia.
Really nice play design here. They're going to bring the tight end back in motion, show crack, and then Wims looks like he's hitting in the linebackers, and he just slips through, and a nice touch pass by Jacob Eason finally gets it in there. They get themselves a touchdown. Between that and the fake field goal, that's a heck of a series for this Georgia football team.
Sammy Douglas bit on the ball fake from Eason. And he's got his 2nd touchdown pass of the day. Blankenship's extra point is good. 12 plays, 52 yards, and 6.5 minutes for Georgia.
It's bowl time, it's bowl season. You take chances in bowl games. Kirby Smart taking advantage of a fake field goal and then slipping the receiver under in a heavy run, personnel look. Touchdown, Georgia.
Look out for the Big 12. You got some pretty good quarterbacks coming back in that league. Oklahoma State looked really good last night in their win against Colorado. K-State beat Texas A&M. Turpin, another nice return out across the 40, which really took them from Conference USA to a very brief stint in the Big East, then out of the Mountain West, and was so successful they got the invite to the Big 12. And there's the catch by Jerrison Stewart in a pickup of 15.
That's a nice throwing catch in a tight window. And again, Georgia not set. Like they had some guys running off the field that didn't quite get off, Beth, before that snap. I don't see a flag yet, but again, they are not on top of this substitution. Again, you see defenders coming in, the top of the screen. There's a defender still on the field.
Might have been too many men there.
It's number 13, Ledbetter, Jonathan Ledbetter. Again, if you're going to make substitutions, you better get off the field fast. Again, that plan doesn't seem as clean sometimes when they're trying to bring these guys in and out.
2nd and 8. Off the play action. They'll go ahead and toss it to Johnson out of the backfield. Breaks the tackle. Gets down inside the 30. Roquan Smith couldn't hang on. Rocky?
And it's not like Georgia didn't know this tempo was coming early in the season. They struggled versus Missouri, who did this kind of quick tempo, changing personnels. And obviously they've had 3.5 weeks to prepare for this game. You got to go with the personnel group and stick with it. You know that Patterson's over there on that sideline just watching you sub and then dictating the tempo of the offense.
Rocky, I'm watching it now. They're not set. They're not ready to go.
There's guys running on off the field, yeah, but right before the ball snapped.
TCU will give them a new look. They'll go empty. Hill out of the pocket and down inside the 20-yard line. Run out by Julian Rochester.
And
Well, that's going to be another first down, Anthony.
You know what happens when you're substituting guys kind of standing around, even though they might be in the right areas, is everybody truly on the same page? How hard are the defensive linemen coming off, making sure they're doing the right assignment?
$74 yards rushing now on 11 carries for Hicks. 69 yards rushing for Kenny Hill. Well, option at left, the pitch to Anderson. Gets a hat on a hat at the 10-yard line and another 9-yard gain.
Anderson out of bounds at the 10.
Anderson has a lot of speed. They like to get him on the outside. And again, Kenny Hill just holding that option, forcing that defender to commit to him, pitching it late and getting themselves a 9-yard run. There you see the yards, the plays. Georgia with the slight time of possession, but we know TCU has that tempo, using it right now to their advantage.
Well, stack receivers on both sides here on 2nd and 1. Hill takes a hard hit. Anderson shoved out of bounds short. That was Natrez Patrick, who just returned to the lineup today from an injury. Hitting Hill hard.
Mel Tucker talked about this guy is a real linebacker. He brings it. You know what? When that quarterback gets on the outside, you got to have the responsibility. Run through that quarterback and make him feel it, because the next time he tries to run it, he causes mistakes. Maybe he pitches it faster. You get a big play. But Johnny on the spot, Patrick there, finally getting back in the thing of things for this offense, this defense.
Nice job by Baker, too, to hold the edge on the outside, and it's 3rd and 2. Turpin in motion. He'll get it. Trying to turn the corner, and he can't. And it's Roquan Smith.
I think the future is bright for 2 linebackers that are sophomores, Beth. I mean, Smith, Patrick, my goodness, speed, can tackle, can hit. I mean, what else do you want from a linebacker position? It looks like 4th down and short. TCU's thinking about going with it. The personnel is running in and out, Beth, though, trying to get set up.
John Diarse will come on. The quarterback, Kenny Hill, will stay on the field. Cole Hunt, the tight end, is in the backfield.
Quarterback run here, potentially following his tight end in the backfield.
Hill keeps, and he's got it to the 9. Patrick was the first guy there. A couple of touchdowns and 4 trips to the red zone. Hill throwing for 6. Up into the corner. Touchdown! What a catch by John Diarse. Beat out DeAndre Baker for the 50-50 ball, and TCU grabs the lead.
Well, you remember earlier in the game, Diarse run a slam. Well, this time he's got inside coverage, and I'll tell you what, a high ball. The question is, does he have it? Well, he's got it in one hand, so there's obvious control. But again, he's a big receiver jumping high. The ball's in his left hand, controlled, several taps on the ground, and he controls the ball to the ground. I'll tell you what, it's pretty good defense by Baker getting his hands up, but he has no idea where the ball is. And Diarse puts his hands and makes that grab. It's a heck of a job. 2 big catches by him in this football game.
The transfer from LSU, remember, drop passes, a big problem all year for TCU. And short-handed by Diarse. And the PAT is good.
Go up and make a play. High points, comes down, controls it. It's a heck of a job by that young man getting TCU back the lead. For sure, both of these guys like to get the running game going. They like to run play action pass. I think it's going to be a matchup of toughness versus quickness in that football game.
Nice cutback by Reggie Davis to get out across the 30. They have amongst their recruiting class next year, which is #2 in the country, some really talented offensive linemen to add to the fold with all their skill guys coming back. Here's Chubb around the edge. Nice block downfield, and there goes Chubb inside the 20 and all the way down to the 6-yard line with Brandon Cablano leading the way.
You know, I love Cablano here because he chips the defender, helps his guy out, then he goes out, makes a chop block at the next level. That's the athleticism. Now, he lacks size, but what he does in speed and technique helped him on that run to get a 50-yard, 53-yard run for Chubb.
Final seconds ticking away here to end the third quarter. Back and forth we go in the AutoZone Liberty Bowl, and it's TCU on top for the time being.
Well, they've had a little trickery in this game. The fake field goal, getting it tight. The little pop pass on the run. But TCU answers with a big-time play by their wide receiver. This has been one heck of a game at the Liberty Bowl.
Georgia fans are out of their seat. They've got the ball inside the 10-yard line after both sides scored touchdowns in that third quarter. What's at stake for the Dogs and the Horned Frogs? Well, for Georgia, a 30th bowl win of all time. And for TCU and Gary Patterson, their 9th bowl win in the last 11 seasons. Nick Chubb has arrived here in the third quarter after just 13 yards rushing in the first half, 72 yards in the third. And it's the Wildcat with Sony Michel. And he's wrapped up immediately in the backfield. James McFarland got to him, 2nd and goal.
James McFarland, one of their senior defensive linemen. They don't have a lot of seniors, but they have 3 of them up front that they're going to miss with McFarland, Curry, and Caraway. These guys have set the tempo, finally getting through a gap. You hadn't seen that penetration so far in the second half. Again, everything heightens back in the red zone in these tighter areas.
Georgia has 3 wins this year when trailing heading into the fourth quarter. Can they make it a 4th? Play action, Eason. Payne couldn't hold it. 3rd and goal.
They try to hit the fullback in the flat here. It's actually a form of banana pass, spider 2 Y banana, but the Y was the receiver on that play. Just couldn't get it in the hands of the fullback accurately.
Eason running out of time, and down he goes, wrapped up by Chris Bradley. And it's 4th down.
It's a nice job by Bradley. Really has to do more today because their starter, Broadnax, is not playing today. So can other guys come in? They run a ET stunt. Comes around the outside. He's able to get Easton. This is great coverage, though. Everybody's locked down. A lot of white jerseys around red. I'll tell you, for one team that struggles in the red zone in Georgia's defense, TCU has excelled.
3rd sack of the day. This a 30-yard attempt for the lead. And the difference right now is the missed PAT in the first half by TCU as the Dogs go back on top. Kick is away, and it's headed for Turpin, who's got over 100 yards and returns already today. Gets out across the 20.
Again, still substituting guys in late. It's amazing.
Kenny Hill, he's got a touchdown run today to go along with a couple of touchdown passes. We've had 4 lead changes today and already a couple of times in the second half. The difference right now is the missed extra point from TCU earlier on. Showing pressure off the edge. Walker is coming. They'll throw into that pressure. Down or out to the 35-yard line is Des White. That's a gain of 7.
A great job by Hill right there. He saw, because of the dummy snap count, the pressure. He changes it. Walker comes on the outside, and he gets the ball out of his hands for a gain on the outside quick throw.
Looking for the deep strike, incomplete. Overthrowing Taj Williams. Baker had the coverage.
And that's really what this offense has missed. You know, Josh Doxson was a guy, you could throw the ball vertically down the sidelines. Guys like Williams and Porter have had tough years of just locking in and getting on the same page. But those two players right there will be the future as far as getting and extending the vertical game.
And Anthony, again, on that last play, ball is snapped. There's 3 Georgia defenders looking to the sideline to get the call.
Hicks leaves the backfield into the slot left. Hill connects out across the 40 to Graham, and a gain of 8.
Kenny Hill's done a nice job understanding, you know, when it's time to run, staying with the pass, finding the open guy, and the tempo has obviously helped them with success today against the defense.
On the rollout, downfield to Graham again, a first down into Georgia territory.
Beth, listen, they just had another defender not off the field. There should have been a flag called. There were 12 guys on the end of the field at that point. Didn't get off the field in time, and again, they let it go.
All right, 1st and 10. Dominic Sanders will stay in the game for Georgia. And another throw downfield and a catch for a first down. Des White inside the 35, 14-yard gain.
And you know what's interesting, Beth, to go back, Dominic Sanders had his helmet off on that play, almost thinking like he probably was about to get thrown out back in the game.
Hill 16 for 21 for 140 yards now with 2 touchdown passes. Hicks will run the other way. And met there immediately by Maurice Smith, who held the line. Got his degree from Alabama, transferred as a grad student, and now seeking his master's in public health. 11th play of the drive that started at their own 23-yard line. And after Kenny Hill had connected on 7 passes in a row, that one's incomplete to Hunt.
Yeah, Cole Hunt doesn't get a lot of action, and he is that tight end H-back movable piece, just not quite out of his route completely on that throw. Now 3rd and long. It's a big opportunity for Georgia to enhance their red zone defense and force potentially a field goal.
Dogs rush for Hill. Taken down for the sack by Trenton Thompson. It was Maurice Smith coming from the other side that forced it.
Well, I'll tell you, you know, we could probably have a highlight film of this young man, because he is wrecking crew at the line of scrimmage. He's right over the center, and he's going to loop around and work his way to the outside. But again, closing speed. Kenny Hill's a fast guy, but he's got quickness and burst in the short range, and he wraps him up. Again, another young player, best sophomore, that's going to be a star for this team.
That's his 3rd sack, which is a Liberty Bowl record for Trenton Thompson. And now a 47-yard attempt. He's hit from 40 and missed from 41. High snap, the place is down, and the kick is no good.
Yeah. He's been shaky, Beth, all day. An extra point earlier that he made was a hard hooking kick also. Just not comfortable today for whatever reason. Snap was a little high to the outside, but do a nice job of getting it down with no problem.
Georgia holds on to that 1-point lead. Sony Michel in the backfield, and he'll get the ball. Nice cut. And a gain of 9. Good news for Georgia, by the way. Roquan Smith did come back into the game on that last 3rd down.
Well, you saw Sony Michel really pick it up in the pass game. Again, he gives you that explosiveness on the outside. And he could be the back right now that causes the most problems for this TCU defense.
Michelle with 55 yards, Chubb with 85. They have now moved past TCU, who had been the top rusher throughout much of the day, and Michelle will get it again.
Well, you know, early in the game, you see some power inside. You might think that's Nick Chubb's job, but he's exceptional. This is something where he puts himself apart from other running backs at Georgia. He's catching the ball and then finishing. He can make big plays, but you know what? Nick Chubb says, listen, I can make some plays too. I'm just going to go the longer route in between the tackles, but he's just as elusive, and he can show you he's got speed up the middle to get it up the field. Again, both of these backs starting to churn and making things happen in the second half.
Michelle with a rushing touchdown and a receiving touchdown, and Chubb big in this second half for Georgia. Here he is again across midfield. Collier with the tackle. Clock running now towards 6.5 minutes to go.
Right now, they got these linemen pulling, looking great. And you see the change in the first and second half. Again, same amount of carries, but much better yardage. For average 13 yards here in the second half, they are picking up steam. And I really like what the line is doing, especially Brandon Cablano at the center position, pulling around and leading the charge as a senior in his final game.
They'll go with the two tight end set. Run it again with Chubb. Up the gut for a first down. Rocky?
Anthony, that's 3 plays in a row. Georgia's ran out of a pistol formation, pistol set. That's not something they traditionally love to do. I know Chaney doesn't like it a lot, but it's working right now. Keeping Eason in the gun. They can still run the ball, but then he has his eyes and his vision where he can survey that field and deliver the football.
And you see double teams. You know, when you have an undersized defensive line, and sometimes as the game gets later and moves into the second half, fourth quarter, they start losing a little bit of their strength in their legs, and the heavy offensive linemen start pressing off the ball. Georgia doing a nice job of that right now in the fourth quarter when it counts.
Now it's Brian Harrion in a tailback. Keep it on the ground, stuck in a backfield by Traven Howard, the leading tackler in the Big 12, 7th in the country.
You see Traven Howard making a big play there. We talked about it before the game. He's normally a linebacker and the 7th leading tackler in the country. Today they move him outside to more of a safety, which I like. It kind of keeps him away from all that trash on the inside, because that's where he seems to struggle, is taking on blocks by those bigger bodies. He's only 210 pounds.
Second and 10, Michelle. McFarland with the tackle, but Sony with a nice push for 6 more.
A lot of guys at the line of scrimmage for TCU on that play. They brought both linebackers in a gap. Not many bodies in the second level. If Georgia can get past that, they can break a big run. But again, 3rd and short, they decide to pass here. Jacob Eason has to be on time with his read.
Michelle gets to the outside with the blitz coming up the middle, and he's got the first down for Georgia. Ran right away from the blitzing backers and a gain of 20.
They tightened down the split of the outside, the receiver on the outside, and he down blocks on the corner. Nobody was home. Sony does a pre-snap read early on the snap, and he bounces it immediately. Again, he's got great vision to see that, and of course the explosive speed to get to the outside, Beth. I'll tell you, both of these guys are back next year. I'm getting excited for Georgia in their running game.
Only 49 yards rushing in the first half. They are now over 200 for the game and chewing up that clock with the lead. And it's back to Nick Chubb. And Nick may have just hit the century mark for the day. Only needed a yard, and he got 2. These two teams have been in close finishes before. A couple of overtime losses this year for TCU. For Georgia, just about every time out, it's been decided in the fourth quarter.
This offensive line, Beth, is starting to take this game over. Something they've had some ups and downs with throughout the season. Jim Chaney, the offensive coordinator, leaning on him right now.
More of Chubb. Right up the middle. Nick Chubb, touchdown. It wasn't working well in the first half, but Georgia stuck with it, and the ground game has cranked it out in the second half.
Center, right guard, right tackle, Cablano, Gaillard, Pike. These guys are taking control of this game, and they are pushing back this TCU defensive line, and it makes it easy for Nick Chubb to get in the end zone when you don't get touched 8 yards down the field.
His 5th 100-yard rushing game of the year. Big extra point for Rodrigo makes it an 8-point game. Still one possession for TCU.
Tough day today for this offensive line early, but they figured out how to block these defensive linemen at TCU, and they're making it happen when it counts in the fourth quarter.
Right now, it's Georgia leading TCU 31-23. They have reestablished the run in the second half. Sony Michel and Nick Chubb both have scored on the ground today for Georgia. Now TCU needs a score and a 2-point conversion with 2:45 to play. And they'll start just outside their own 35-yard line. All right, now the attention turns to Kenny Hill and the Horned Frogs. Kyle Hicks with a cutback for a couple. Lorenzo Carter with the tackle. Looming large right now, a missed extra point early in the game that doinked off the upright, as well as a couple of missed field goals today, a 41 and a 47-yarder from Brandon Hatfield. Kenny Hill on the run, gets out to the 45-yard line. He's got a couple of touchdown passes and a touchdown run today. Looks just short.
I thought he got it, Beth. I don't know. He's kind of close.
3rd and 1. They got it now, out to the 50. And Kyle Hicks, who's gone over 1,000 yards today on the season. Rocky?
Guys, it's really important right now that Georgia, I know they want to get after the quarterback, but they can't get upfield too much and allow some rush lanes for Kenny Hill.
Hill gets away from Bellamy. Downfield incomplete.
And right there is a perfect example, Rocky. You got number 17, Bellamy. He decides to go inside the tackle. He's very fortunate that there was someone out there and he passed the ball because he lost contain at that moment against him.
A reminder that immediately following the game, you can tune into ESPN 3 for the post-game trophy ceremony presented by Capital One. On 2nd and 10, Hill incomplete. Austin couldn't haul it in. It's 3rd down.
A lot of quick passes in this game for TCU. Checkdowns to the running back now. You know, Kenny Hill's got to distribute the ball to routes and to his receivers. Not many of them have caught too many balls today. So again, finding the open man in 3rd and 10. Got to make a big play. Georgia's defense right now in control.
They're going to run it with Hicks. He'll get a good chunk of it down inside the 45 and a gain of 6. 4th and short.
Obviously, the plan was to go for it on 4th down. It's man-to-man coverage across the board.
Smith and Carter rushing from the edges. The throw downfield, and it's broken up, incomplete. And it's Georgia football. It was DeAndre Baker with the coverage on Taj Williams. And Georgia will take over with 1:14 to go, and TCU has 2 timeouts.
Well, I'll leave this to Rocky, but you got man-to-man coverage across the board. They try to run a hitch route. I don't know if that's the best route to run against a defensive back. He's already going to be clamped down on you, and he's got no way to get separation.
And Anthony, I don't understand why in that situation, game on the line, you don't give Kenny Hill a pass run option. Get him out of the pocket, and if he sees some daylight, let him make some plays with his legs. That's the biggest thing that's been working today. But then also have the option to pass, like you said, a little hitch route like that, not a great call.
.114 to play. Georgia with the ball now and the 8-point lead. Nick Chubb. Now you just got to hang on to the football. It's going to be the first timeout for TCU, so they will have 1 left. 6 for 13 in the first half, 10 for 102 in the second half on the ground for Chubb. Looking to hold on to that football, stay in bounds, and why not pick up another first down?
And that's it right there, Beth, because we just talked about it. You start putting these defenders up at the line of scrimmage to make a stop, and all of a sudden you get creased and gashed, and Nick Chubb is not going to miss a hole if you give it to him. Takes a step outside and really makes 2 guys miss because of his speed, quickness, and the power. You see those the leg strength to break tackles. It's been an impressive day for him, especially in the second half.
That may be a fitting end of the season for number 27. He runs it 27 yards to get the first down. He's got a $142 today and a touchdown coming all the way back from that knee injury last season. And both he and Michelle and Jacob Eason all return next season. So does Isaiah McKenzie. And for the Horned Frogs, a lot of young guys coming back for them as well. But it's Georgia today in the bowl debut for Kirby Smart as a head coach at his alma mater.
Well, let's put it this way with Kirby Smart, okay? Not maybe the ideal season they're used to having as far as big-time records, but I'll tell you, I see a lot of players, young players, that are playmakers for this football team, and I think with the young skill and the recruiting, this thing's going to add up and pay a lot of dividends. Next year is going to be a big year for this coach.
And you've got a trip up to South Bend to play Notre Dame next September for one of the marquee matchups early in the season. And what could be a major moment for the Bulldogs next September. They're going to enjoy the offseason with a bowl win over TCU as they take the AutoZone Liberty Bowl 31-23. They wanted to run it today. Didn't get it done in the first half. Got it done and then some in the second. They're going to finish with 247 on the ground.
And again, this offensive line for Georgia, people have said they're undersized, they're not big enough, they're not strong enough. To be quite honest with you, the reason why they won this game is because what they did up front. Yeah, it was tough early in the game. TCU was doing some things to get them off those tracks we talked about as a key to the game, but they finally figured it out. They got hats on hats, and they drove back this undersized defensive line and controlled the line of scrimmage, and that's what took the pressure off this young man, Jacob Eason, in the second half. Didn't have to make too many plays when you got 2 backs and the offensive line churning like they were at the end of the game in the fourth quarter.
Let's go down to Rocky now with Kirby Smart.
Coach, defensively, you had a lot of different packages, a lot of different schemes, and you hung in there. What made this work so well to stop this TCU attack?
These kids made it work well. These kids believe and they keep fighting. You know, for the offense to be stagnant, not getting anything, and just keep pounding the rock and keep believing in what we're doing. Defensively, they play hard, had some big red area stops. Really proud of this team.
You mentioned the run game. You stayed committed to it. They stopped it in the first half. You came on and got some big yards in the second half. What was the difference?
The difference was moving people up front and giving them some different formations and just staying what we believe, getting some perimeter blocking. And those 2 backs, man, they're special kids.
Coach, you're a Georgia boy, your first win as a Georgia coach. What does this mean to you and you're in this Georgia program?
This means a lot to this Georgia program. We got great things going on in recruiting. We're excited. We got really good things going on there. And these kids, these seniors, they fought so hard and they believed. And it just means a lot to me that they did that.
Congratulations, Coach. Thanks.
On behalf of our entire crew, and Rocky Boyman and Anthony Beck, I'm Beth Mowens. Thanks so much for joining us all season long and today here in Memphis. Now let's send you to Reese, Joey, and David out in Arizona.